Thank you so much. That was very insightful, Shirley. Yeah, I've learned a lot. I recorded your whole thing. So guys, a little note, if you're not good at taking notes like myself, you can just record everything and just watch it later and make your own notes. So today we're going to talk about, from my side, how to create content and how to charge for it. This is something that I often get asked, especially from new influencers, and I've helped a lot of influencers in my industry, just having conversations around how do we make money, how do we know our worth as well. So I'm going to unpack that with you today. If there are any questions or if I'm talking too quickly, you just stop me. Okay, let's go straight in. So how I started my blog when I was 18, I'm now 20, almost 28, so 10 years, was that I just had something I wanted to say. I was always a kid who had a lot of thoughts and feelings about fashion, about myself, and about the world I lived in. So it started from a really authentic place. And before I started charging, I didn't even know I could charge. So a lot of you guys would probably be in a similar space now where you found your niche or something that you love doing or sharing, whether that's fashion or beauty or cooking. The food space, I think, is really exciting at the moment. I'm not in the food space because I'm not a great cook, but it's something that I think is really inspiring and coming up in South Africa. So if you're in any of those spaces, you may be considering charging for your content. So how I started charging was I looked at my followers and I charged 10% of my followers. I just chose this figure randomly. I was lectured by David, I think his name's David Duarte. My memory is not that great. So, and he gave me the advice to do that. He was like, oh, just charge 10%. So 10% of your followers might not seem like a lot now, but as you grow, you start to make more. And what you want to do is really build that authentic collaboration with a brand. So if you have 500 followers and you're charging 50 Rand, it seems like a little to you, but that 50 Rand actually goes a long way because there's costs that you incur whenever you create a piece of content. Whenever you access your mind to promote a brand, you're actually spending your own worth. So just remember that. So even though it could be 10 Rand, you deserve to earn a little bit. Doesn't have to be a ton. If it's enough to get you into your taxi to your shoot location, you've done a good job. So understand what your reach is on all your platforms. So whether that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, your blog, your YouTube channel, your Snapchat, if anyone's still using Snapchat. You can gauge your reach on all of those platforms and collect them into a bundle. So I know that my reach is 145,000 users across my platform. And then you unpack your reach. So I know lots about my audience, and I know this by speaking to them. So that's via DM, via email, comments, and then one-on-one conversations. I know what they like. I know that they just like me. So if I like something, they're going to like it too. Knowing your reach, you're able to go to a client and say to them, this is what I have. I have X amount of people following me on these various platforms, and this is what they like. And we, collectively, because we're a little community, love your product. Are you interested in working with us? Doing that takes a lot of guts. Rejection, I'm going to touch on that later, can be really daunting. So we'll unpack that as well. So what the questions you have to ask yourself when charging for content is, how much does it cost for me to produce this content? Now, you could say it costs nothing, I just took my phone out and took a picture. No, it costs your time, it costs your data bill, very important, and it costs your creative thinking. So what I would do is add a value to what your time is. And knowing your worth is very difficult. I didn't in the beginning. And then someone told me, you spend hours doing this and you're not even charging people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do spend hours doing this. What else could I be doing in my day that could make me money, and what am I foregoing? So know your foregone costs. So if you decided, for example, when I was a student and I didn't do a promotional gig, which is like, you guys all know what promos are, where you go into the store and you spray on people and you say, oh, please, do you like this perfume? So I used to do that. And when I didn't do that, I was losing money, right? But I wanted to shoot as well. So then I would put that down, 70 Rand that I lost from not doing my perfume promo. And then You want to put down how much data do you use to post your content? Are you using your parents' Wi-Fi? It also costs your parents something, to use their Wi-Fi. Are you using the Wi-Fi at UCT? So cost you your full gig, because clearly I was using the Wi-Fi at UCT. Cost your full gig, and once you get a final number, you know the value of the content, of the one piece of content that you are developing. That is not to say you charge the client that value, you just need to know that value in your mind. So one of these days you want to break even and achieve that value, right? And you're going to work towards it. Consider your billable hours, which is basically what I said about knowing how much time you're spending doing these tasks. It can take hours and hours to come up with a campaign, put makeup on, get your hair done, go and shoot. And then if you are shooting, are you employing anyone? Is there a photographer? And if she or he is shooting you for free, what does it cost them? If you're collaborating with a brand and a photographer, always make sure that your photographer or videographer or anyone that's assisting you gets something out of the deal as well. So if you're getting a free lipstick, make sure that she's getting a free one too. Or if you're shooting with a guy and he likes lipstick, perhaps you can help him out, One of my favorite brands to work with is MAC Cosmetics, and when I work with guys, funny enough, I would ask them, do you have a fix spray that I can also give to my video guy? And they're like, okay. And I tell the guy, you need to use this fix spray. It's amazing. And it really is. My husband uses it. And it makes their skin glow. So you're giving back. You're not only getting things just for yourself, right? What's nice about having your photographer also get samples is that you guys can double test the product, which I used to do a lot with Tegan. If sometimes I liked something and she didn't, then it gives you a varied opinion when you're talking to your audience. And then, very important, always be willing to negotiate with the brand, especially when you're starting out. When you're asking for money, it's very daunting. And people often will call you a brat and call you, oh, how dare you charge me for your time? That's ludicrous. So you want to go in and be really open and say, this is how much it costs for me, because now I know, right? This is how much it costs for me to produce the content for you. However, I really love your brand. I've loved it for X amount. Here's my story, like a little sentence about why you love the brand. And I'd love to work with you guys. If I give you 2 pieces of content for free this time around, would you consider paying me next time? Is that an option? If they say, no, your followers are too low, or we'll think about it and say, okay, how about we start a little program together? I'll give you 2 free now. Next time, I'll give you 2 more, and you pay me 50% of my value, and then we'll build up to our total value. Also want to make a profit at the end. That's the best way I find to go about things, and I actually still do that to this day. So help the brand understand your influence and why you're important, which leads us to the next thing, which is landing your first gig. So landing your first gig is all about networking. Getting to know the brand managers, getting to know marketing people, and getting to know other influencers. What I want to do today is challenge everyone in this room to go and introduce themselves to each other. And don't just follow each other and be like, oh, hey, nice to meet you, follow. No, have a meaningful conversation, find out what the person's doing in their life. Why are they here today? What are they trying to learn? What do they like? What do they dislike? Perhaps you connect with someone, and one day that person could work for the brand that you love and then remember you. Compliments always work, as long as they're genuine. Don't just go around telling people like, la, 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 you're amazing. Like, no, that's not gonna work. You need to go and be genuine and really like something about the person and spark up a conversation. You never know where that conversation may lead. And then going to events. It can become difficult to get invited to events. I've asked brand managers about this, and they actually don't mind being stalked on social media. They do get irritated at times, but be brave. Ask them, hey, I'm a new blogger. I really love your brand. I'd love to attend your next event if you'd consider me. Here's my Instagram profile. Check me out. You can DM them, and then maybe ask for an email address for a PR account exec. And you can say, hey, just a reminder, I still really love the brand. Would love to be at the next launch. And you might get invited. I snuck my way into a lot of functions in the beginning. And I'd say, oh, you don't need to give me a goodie bag. I just want to be there. So, because people get, oh, my budget for my event was X amount. Now you're going to come and eat all the sushi rolls and take our goodie bag. We can't afford it. So just say, I just want to come and experience the product and get to know the brand. And then what I would do when I went to an event, I would post about it and then send them statistics on how the post performed. So if you guys have any analytics programs on your social media, you're all quite aware of that. You can go and grab your analytics and email the person. Say, for example, I went to Shirley's event. I would say, hey, Shirley, so great to meet you at your event. Loved the event. The flower wall was amazing. Please see some of the stats on the posts I posted about your event. Looking forward to hearing from you. Perhaps she never replies. Perhaps she does. Maybe you made an impression on her because you were brave enough to, send an email. It's worked for me in the past. I've often gotten ignored. People get ignored. People are busy. That's fine. Don't take it personally. Just keep it moving. Go to the next one and do the same thing. Okay, be okay with rejection. You will get rejected often, especially in the landscape that we're in now. There's lots of social media influencers in South Africa, and they're coming up really quickly. So it can be, a bit daunting when you're starting out and you're sending your proposals off. People could, reject you or not be interested. What I would say is never, ever take that personally. There's a whole map that goes behind working on a brand. And it's not about you specifically. Maybe you just have to work a little bit harder and reach those touch points. Everyone says that it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. So if you're just starting out, don't stress. You'll get there. Okay, and then I also added DMing brands. Everything's changed. You don't have to send an email anymore. You could just DM a brand and say, I really like your product. I often DM brands that I like, and I'm like, oh, when's this lipstick launching? Or engage with the brand and make sure they know who you are. Social media influence is not always the top of the totem pole of marketing, but they could talk about you, and when someone's looking for a new person to work with, hey, we're looking for a new micro-influencer to work with. Do you know anyone? Actually, this girl DM'd me about our red lipstick. Perhaps we could work with her. It's a good way to start. So be engaging and make sure that you do slide into the DMs. Okay, creating your first rate card. This was challenging for me in the beginning, but I'm friends with a lot of graphic designers, and I do have a company that does my rate card now. You can totally do it yourself. You don't need to spend money on this. It's very easy. You need to write a short bio about yourself. Please make this very short. People don't like reading. If you can make a video, it's actually pretty cool. You can insert your YouTube video into your first page. And a sample of your content on one page. So an Instagram that you really love that you did for, a review or whatever. A video, a tweet, Facebook, whatever you're trying to sell to the brand, show them what you're about on one page. On your third page, include your 3 package price points. So you want to have your cheap and cheerful, middle of the road, and then the full Monty. So your cheap and cheerful would be where you're negotiating. Perhaps it's free. So if you guys give me 1,000 rands worth of product, I'll be able to do this many things for you in this way. Very important to describe how your content's going to appear. Sometimes brand managers are super busy and they don't want to guess what you're going to give them. They want to see it firsthand. So showcase that. Even if you go into Pinterest and you steal a little picture of a bunch of flowers and a lipstick, say this is the kind of vibe we're going to give you. It's going to be soft and elegant and chic. Use the brand words that are associated with the brand. And then your middle of the road would be your 50-50. So if you pay me this amount plus this amount of product, I'm willing to give you this amount of content. And then, of course, your full Monty, which is often the one they don't go for, but do let them know there's an option, is you pay me my full rate, and I'll give you X amount of content. Okay, so spending money on the best apps is the best way you're going to get the best content. So what I spend money on Adobe Photoshop, I spend money on Lightroom, I spend money on Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro is super expensive. I wouldn't advise that for someone who's just starting out at video. It's just not worth it because you're not going to use the full capacity. But if you've started editing already, you can totally use it. And then for your iPhone or your Samsung, I think they have similar apps. You can get ViscoCam, which is really great. Buy the filters. I know it's annoying to spend that 14 Rand on the filters, but if you're able to, buy the extra filters if you think they're going to really make your feed look beautiful. So staying organized is something I really struggle with. I'm not an organized person. I think it's because I'm a Gemini, but that could also be because I'm a Gemini. So, because Geminis blame everything on being a Gemini. So some of the things I use to stay organized is Google Calendar. It's better than any of the other calendar apps. So you can use the one on your phone. If you've got an iPhone, you get iCal, but Google Calendar is the best. It goes all the way to giving you directions using Google Maps, timing your travel, so you can stay really organized. If you want to be an influencer, you have to be really confident with who you are. And if that means taking breaks and, not putting too much pressure on yourself to be the perfect influencer. Your audience like progression. They like to see that you're real. So if you just come straight off the bat and you like Adriana Lima with the amazing lifestyle, we won't believe you, because why are you so perfect suddenly? Just progress and be okay to make mistakes. You took a bad picture last week, you can delete it, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And I think we put too much pressure on ourselves, but that's a whole other story. I hope you guys enjoyed my talk and that you took lots of notes. Thanks so much.